Hi everyone! Today I wanted to share a little bit about the process and the overview of how my book Little Kunoichi came to be. This is a presentation I do with all my book readings, and I think it's interesting and I hope you do too. So I actually can't remember, I think it was 2013 when I was approached by my editor to write and illustrate a children's picture book. She suggested, actually strongly recommended, that I create a storyboard. So I went back home and grabbed a bunch of index cards. I actually used white index cards, but those are the only ones I have right now at home. And I just drew my ideas out on the index cards and then started to rearrange them to try to get the flow of the story. And those index cards then turned into thumbnail sketch storyboard. Wait, that doesn't sound right. The thumbnail sketches became the storyboard, yes. Here's the storyboard. As you can see, it's a miniaturized version of the entire book, and what was interesting about this is that this is literally what I turned in, and from this point at the very beginning to the very end when I turned in the final art, there were very, very few changes, which was wonderful for me. I mean, it felt like the whole story was basically set and ready to go from the very beginning. It was a lot of fun working on it. And next, I want to show you a little bit of how the process worked for me in terms of creating the artwork. After the storyboard was approved and everything was going along nice and merrily, they wanted to see actual sized grayscale or black and white versions, I guess, of the whole book, so they could get a sense of whether it would work with the proportions when it was the actual size of the book. So here you can see I had created, basically enlarged the storyboard versions, and this is all digital. I just used Photoshop and then sketched the full, I believe the book size was 7.5 by 7, or 8.5 by 8.5. I can't remember now, but I should know this. But that was the second phase of just making sure the text would work and where the visual elements would be placed, and also to kind of have time to figure out how I would add color and composition and all of that. For the book, I painted every single element separately using watercolor and gouache. So as you can see, these the dancers in the kimono and the masks and the drummers, I painted everything separately and then collaged them together in Photoshop after scanning them in. And this gave me a lot of control, and it was just fun, kind of, it was like moving around puzzle pieces and making them all fit together. One of the first things that had to be decided, and I had no idea it had to be decided so early, was the cover. And as much as we say don't judge a book by its cover, it is definitely the most important part. And so I had to come up with a bunch of ideas to see which one, would work on many different levels, whether the sales people would like it, and artistically would it fit in with the feel of the book and all of those things. But it was pretty tricky since I didn't have the interior of the book fully fleshed out in my mind yet. But I did come up with initially 6 versions. I guess it was more like 5, and then the last one was modified. But I tried different color schemes. We have little Kunoichi under the leaves, and then she's on her little rope and flying with an umbrella. And a lot of kids ask, why is there a goose? I just like geese. And then I tried more of a stealth cover with the all black, and I wanted the Kunoichi to pop with, what are those called? The spot texture of some sort. But that one didn't go over so well. And then, and I love the one with the trees, and that was one of the favorites, but they felt it would be more appropriate inside, so it ended up becoming part of the endnotes design. And then ultimately, after they reviewed the 5 covers, the one on the lower left was the winner, but they said, you know, we really like it. You get the sense of Little Kunoichi being this strong girl, but we don't like the colors. Can you add more colors? And we don't, you know, we want to see more in the background. So then you can see in the lower right, I added a few more elements and made it blue, because blue is one of my favorite colors, and changed Little Kunoichi's costume or outfit to purple, which is the traditional color for female ninjas. But then they said, nope, it's too blue. We want different colors. So I tried so many different colors. I tried yellow and green and more earthy tones, and we went through about 10 different versions. This is the cover that we ended up with, and as you can see, I added more florals and more texture to the sky, and I actually bumped up the brightness of the outfit as well, and you can see the trees in the other design reflected in the back and also in the end notes, which is my favorite part. And one of the fun things I do with those covers is whenever I have a reading at a school or with students, I ask, I get votes on which ones they like, and it's interesting, maybe they're just trying to make me feel good, but they always tell me this is the best one. But the popular one, the second most popular one is the one with the goose and the umbrella. So that one's really fun. The whole process from start to finish took about, I would say, give or take 6 months for the creation of the book, but from the time I signed the book contract until it was published was closer to 18 months. So it was a process. It took a while, but I thoroughly enjoyed every part of it, and I hope I get to do more. Oh, not that. I hope you do too. Oh. Another flavor.